What made this moment so shocking wasn't just the confrontation itself, but the raw emotion behind it. You could feel months of frustration boiling over in real time. Shedeur, who has been forced to remain composed and professional through every slight, every excuse, every moment where the organization failed him, finally reached a point where silence was no longer an option. This wasn't a measured PR response crafted by handlers. This was a young quarterback, tired of being the scapegoat for a dysfunctional franchise, choosing to stand up for himself on the biggest media platform in sports. And the reaction was instantaneous. Social media erupted, analysts scrambled to rewrite their talking points, and fans who had previously been on the fence suddenly saw the situation through a new lens. For the first time, the public witnessed Shedeur refusing to carry blame that never belonged to him in the first place. The most telling part of the exchange came when Shedeur calmly but firmly questioned why Rex continued to criticize him while refusing to address the glaring structural issues within the Browns. He pointed out that no quarterback in the modern NFL has ever been expected to succeed without first-team practice, without cadence work, without even basic timing established with receivers. He asked the question that everyone else had been afraid to say out loud. Why was he being held to impossible standards when the organization had done nothing to prepare him? That wasn't arrogance. That was truth. And it hit Rex like a punch he never saw coming. Because once that question was asked, the entire narrative shifted. Suddenly, the focus was no longer on whether Shedeur was ready. It was on why the Browns failed to make sure he was. The panel fell silent for a moment, and that silence spoke louder than any argument. You could sense the realization sinking in for millions watching. This wasn't just a young quarterback struggling to adjust. This was a systemic failure disguised as individual performance criticism. And Rex Ryan, who built his brand on loud, unapologetic takes, found himself cornered by logic and evidence. He tried to pivot, tried to dismiss the organizational criticism, tried to redirect back to Shedeur's inexperience. But the damage was done. The mask had slipped. The narrative he had been driving all season suddenly looked flimsy and agenda-driven. And for a man who prides himself on being a straight shooter, that exposure was devastating. What made the moment even more powerful was that Shedeur never raised his voice, never insulted anyone, never made it personal. He simply stated facts. He defended his preparation, explained his process, and made it clear that he wasn't going to accept the role of sacrificial lamb for a franchise that has failed every young quarterback it has touched for nearly 3 decades. That level of poise in the face of antagonism is exactly what NFL teams search for in franchise leaders. Ironically, the very interview meant to undermine him ended up showcasing the exact qualities that make him a legitimate starting quarterback. The reaction from players around the league was immediate. Veterans who had gone through similar situations voiced their support. Several former Browns quarterbacks even chimed in, confirming that the organization has a long history of mishandling young talent. When multiple former players publicly say they never received proper preparation before their debuts, it becomes impossible to ignore the pattern. And when that pattern stretches across 27 years and 17 quarterbacks, the problem becomes undeniable. Yet somehow, Rex continued to push the narrative that the responsibility rests on the shoulders of the latest victim rather than the system that keeps producing the same outcome. The emotional core of this moment becomes even clearer when you consider everything Shedeur has endured in such a short time. From being thrown into the fire against one of the league's most dominant defenses with zero preparation, to dealing with a home invasion that would shake most people to their core, to facing relentless scrutiny from analysts who refuse to consider context, he has handled adversity with resilience that few rookies possess. His confidence isn't blind optimism. It's the product of years of preparation under a father who understands exactly what it takes to survive in this league. It's the mindset required to step into chaos and still believe you can win. And that brings us to the deeper tension fueling this entire drama. There is a segment of the football world that resents the Sanders family not because of anything they've done wrong, but because they refuse to conform. They refuse to shrink. They refuse to apologize for their confidence, their success, their visibility, their cultural impact. Shedeur believes in himself openly. He carries himself like a starting quarterback. He does not defer to critics who want him to play small. That confidence threatens people like Rex, who built their careers on controlling narratives around players. When a young quarterback refuses to accept the role assigned to him, that disrupts the power dynamic. And this interview exposed that shift in real time. Now the stakes for Sunday are even higher. This isn't just about performance anymore. It's about validation. It's about proving that the problem was never talent or readiness, but structure and support. If Shedeur walks into Las Vegas and performs well, the entire narrative collapses for people like Rex. The excuses evaporate. The criticism looks hollow. The organizational failures become impossible to ignore. And the people defending him will have undeniable proof that all he needed was the preparation he should have received from day one. But even if he struggles, the context revealed in this interview will linger. Fans and analysts who heard the truth today will think twice before blaming him for long-standing systemic issues. The conversation has shifted permanently, and that alone is a victory. The most compelling part of this entire story is that it's no longer just about football. It's about agency. It's about a young man refusing to be defined by lazy narratives. It's about accountability within a franchise that has avoided it for decades. And it's about the moment when a player looked directly at one of the loudest voices in sports media and refused to be disrespected any longer. Sunday's game will determine how loudly each side speaks afterward. But regardless of outcome, this confrontation has changed the landscape. It has exposed agendas. It has illuminated truth. And it has set the stage for one of the most emotionally charged rookie debuts in recent NFL history. Now it's your turn. Do you think Shedeur was right to confront Rex Ryan? Was this a necessary moment of truth? Or should he have stayed quiet and let his play speak for itself? And do you believe the Browns have set him up to succeed? Or are we witnessing yet another case of organizational failure being blamed on a young quarterback? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more honest, in-depth coverage that goes beyond the hot takes, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next chapter in this unfolding saga. Because after today, the story is only getting bigger.